All right, now we're going to get started on how do you actually go about self-publishing books in your homeschool or just with your kids in general. So let's see here. Okay, let's get started. Last video, I just told you the why. Why do you want to do this? Why would you want to do this? Why did we want to do this? And showed you some of the books that we've created together as a family. Let's see here. Well, obviously, every story has to start with an idea. So you need to write your story. The story mountain, as it's called. Okay. I look at it very simply. So if you're introducing this to your kids, even your little ones, and they're just writing literally, it could be a 1-paragraph story that you can put into a book form. You have to have a beginning, you have to have a middle, you have to have an end. At that beginning, that's where it's talking about the mood, the characters, the setting. For example, in Charlotte's Web, the very first line is something like, where's Papa going with that axe? It makes you think, okay, Papa, the setting is probably set in a little bit later time. Where's he going with that axe? Said Fern. So the mood is like curious and not sure what's going on. We have characters. We have Papa. We have Fern. She's talking to Mama at the time. So that is what your beginning should start with. Then you have some sort of incident, some sort of problem. And in my daughter's book that I talked about, my middle daughter that wrote a book, Sophie's Pink Balloon, she did all the watercolors for it and wrote the story herself. She starts out, this is her first page of her book. Oh, hello, I'm Sophie, and one of my favorite things to do is to go to the fair. Every time I go, I have to make sure that I get a pink balloon. Let me tell you about one of my trips to the fair. So in this one, she's at the fair. It's a happy time. She's remembering her time that she went to get her pink balloon. Her character is Sophie, so it's introducing those things. Then you have the character almost gives up. There's lots of obstacles, so let's move on to that. So she loses her pink balloon, just so you know, at the fair. She took it everywhere with her, but then all of a sudden she realizes it's gone. She goes back to try to get another one. They're all out, so she's really, really sad. She feels like she's, her whole day is lost. What child has ever felt like that when they've lost a balloon? Their whole day, it's ruined. So while she's walking home, she hopes that her family will remember something, and it's her birthday. So she's sadly walking home. That's why she was at the fair. She was celebrating her birthday. But she's thinking, there'll be no party, no presents, nothing's going to happen. And then you have a peak or climax moment where there's hope. Something good is about to happen that changes how they feel. And when she gets there, it's a surprise. They already had a party planned for her. Everyone was there. Friends, neighbors, and family. I was so happy when I saw presents, games, cake, and food. Everyone sang happy birthday to me. Here's our little dog, Sophie. She's so cute. And once everyone was finished eating, they gave me the best gift ever. So now we're at the end. So let me move again over here, where we have a resolution. Things are working out. Things are starting to go in the direction that the characters wanted it to. Her surprise was my room was filled with pink balloons, and there she is, so happy. Everything worked out for her in the end. And I couldn't be happier, she says. So you need to begin with one thing. You need an idea. My kids, it seems like, and myself, we take everything from our life because it's easy, it's readily available, we're experiencing it as we go. So that's where a lot of our ideas come up with. We come up with them from. It can be something made up, maybe completely made up. It could be an experience that you personally had. So you just need an idea. This is a list of a bunch of ideas that I just randomly came up with. I will point you into my blog, my website. I put a packet together on there that has a lot of this information on there already that you can just download for free. So you need a story mountain, you need ideas, first outlines, and that's the thing that my daughter dislikes the most. There's more than one outline? I have to write it several times? Well, we have to fix it several times, right? It's still never going to be perfect, probably, but we need to give it a try. We need to do our best because whoever's going to read it, we want to give them our best. So once you have an idea, or just on that paper, you'd circle your favorite idea. You could just go with any idea for now, just to start the process. You don't have to stress about it. Your idea can change later on. We have a lot of stories that we've started, and we've never finished them. I have the kids keep a notebook, and they just sometimes flip back through them just to get an idea if they want to. So keep a notebook. That's a good idea. And then you need to make a quick storyboard. Again, I'll have this linked, or just go to my website and you can download it from there. It doesn't need to be too detailed. It's just to give you an idea of how the story is going to play out. It'll look like this. It just helps you plan for the layout. For example, when you upload your book, your actual document, to KDP, which we'll talk about what that is. That's Amazon's self-publishing website. Then your first page is always on the right-hand side. It's your first page is on the right-hand side, and I usually make that my title page. And maybe below it I would write my copyright or my dedication. And then I would go into my story for each of the pages laid out. This is for a 32-page book. You can't publish anything less than a 24-page book on Amazon KDP, just so you know. Again, just to give you an idea of that story mountain again, just so you can see it. After you have your storyboard, you have to get writing. Now, if you're a chapter book author, I would encourage you to do a character analysis first. So you need to make sure, I know exactly who I'm writing about. I know them like they are standing next to me. They are a friend. I have met them before. We've had a conversation. Told me about their life. You need to know everything about them. So that's where, again, this is all linked, hopefully. You need to know what do they look like? Hair color, eye color, skin color, height. Are they an animal? Maybe your main character is an animal. Fine. How old are they? Where do they live? Their education. Are they homeschooled? What do they do for a living? What is their job? Their personality. So are they funny? Are they quirky? Are they curious? Are they scared a lot? Are they timid? What skills do they have? And then think about some deeper questions, such as what are some things they really care about? What is something they regret? You might not even put any of this in your story, but it helps you to understand who you're writing about. So when you do have the character in certain scenarios, you'll know exactly how that character would react. And it seems logical and it seems real. Because you don't want to have a character that all of a sudden they're the most courageous character there, but the whole story you kept talking about how they've never even turned the lights out at night when they went to sleep because they're just so afraid of the dark. They're so afraid of a spider. They're just terrified of everything. But then all of a sudden your character slays the dragon, and that just wouldn't make sense. So you need to understand who your character is. Then we get to editing. So you've written your story and now we're editing. We have macro edits, or I call your big edits, and your micro edits, your tiny edits. So your macro edits are just make sure your story structure flows. It makes sense. Map out your characters, who they are. Get some beta readers. Beta readers are just people that are going to help you that have volunteered to read your book or read your manuscript. Again, even if it's a 24-page picture book, you need somebody to read through this. It might be mom or dad. Mom, if it's you, I would encourage you to be very gentle the first time around and not too critical. You can publish something imperfect. That's better to do that and to keep their enthusiasm up and to keep them encouraged than to nitpick at every little thing, because you're going to take the joy right out of this. So then we have micro edits. So Any kind of quotations, we need to check that. We need to check spelling. We want to check abbreviations, punctuation. Is it first person, third person? So we need the voice to be checked. Powerful vocabulary. So instead of saying the hill was big, maybe we can say he climbed an enormous hill. It was gigantic compared to any other hill he'd ever seen. Something like that. Formatting needs to be done correctly. And then you can run it through something like Grammarly. If you're not comfortable enough, correcting all of the grammar, or maybe even ChatGPT would actually fix that for you if you ran it through. Or ask an English teacher that you know at a co-op or in school if you go to school. I'm sure they would love to read what you wrote. Here's Lacey's micro edits. So she just likes to type everything from the very beginning. The numbers here reference what page we're on. So she wanted to have a page of writing and then an illustration, and then a page of writing and an illustration. So she types everything, and then we print it out. I go through and I make some adjustments here and there and write some things down. Okay, so we're at the point where they've written their story. You've gone through your micro edits and your macro edits. Now it's time to just make sure that they type it all up and you get that formatted. If you're writing a chapter book, we'll go into what programs you can use to do that in a later video. But in the next video we're going to do is how to do your illustrations, or what you can choose to use for illustrations. So, see you then.